Hey there, Synth Drones. Today we're going to talk about Synth Talk. This is edition number 3. Hi, I'm Pure Ambient Drone, aka James Drone. Hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, keep up with all of my synth adventures here, and jamesdrone.com is the place to be to connect with me. Man, I got a lot of stuff to talk about here today. I have been redoing the studio again. How many times have I redone my studio? I know, right? I think this is going to be the last time for me because I think I'm on the road to happiness and I think I have found what I'm looking for. So let's start with a new addition to the studio, one of the new additions, and that is a D-05 from Roland. As you guys probably already know, it's the remake of the Roland D-50. Now, I had the rack version of this some time ago, and it sounded absolutely great, and so does the boutique. Now, something that I had forgotten about this boutique, because I just did not think about it too much, is that this is actually 16-note polyphonic. And I had forgotten that because I had some of the other boutiques which were only 4 notes. And so when I was looking this up on the Roland site, I noticed that they listed it as having 16 notes of polyphony. That's awesome. So a lot of people, actually I have found out that I've encountered at least, don't know that or have forgotten. So yes, it is a 16-note polyphonic boutique, and it has all of the sounds from the expansions of the old D50 built into her. So why did I get it? And that is because I like a little bit of digital flavor into my music every now and then. And this gives you a nice kind of a dirty, gritty sound. Now, if you know something about me and my channel, I always talk about the dirty, gritty sound. It's always good to have some salt and pepper in your sound palette that can cut through a mix. And for a digital synthesizer, I believe that the D50, or in this case, the D-05, has some really great sounds and a character about it that can break into a mix and cut through in many circumstances. So it just works for me in that sense. Now, as much as I love the dirty, gritty sound, I don't want every synthesizer sounding that way, of course, because then you don't have any variety in your mix. But it is nice to be able to have a few of them in your arsenal that you can choose from. And as a digital synthesizer, this is the only one that I personally know of that I've encountered, that I have used myself personally, that has that unique kind of character to it. And it's very, very, very slight, very minute, which is also a good thing, okay? It's barely there, but I pick up on it when I'm mixing with it, and that's why I decided I wanted to get it. Not only that, though, but there is another reason. That is, there's some really unique sounds to the D-05/D50, and they're authentically aged, and they're very useful sounds today if you sprinkle them around here and there, or maybe twist them around a little bit. I thought it would be pretty cool to get a little controller with them. You know, I think it's called a PG-1000, but you know, that's another $400 or $500, sometimes even more, depending on where you're getting them from. And I just don't think I really super duperly need one of those, let alone have any room for it at this point. So what else? I'm not exactly sure everything I talked about in Synth Talk number 2, but let's start over here on the sequential rack. And by the way, I did pick up a Pro 3 from Sequential this week, and I want to save that for last because it's an interesting story. But right here I have the Prophet 6, the OB6, the Prophet 12, and the Sequential Rev 2. And then behind me I have the Prophet X, and back behind the camera where you cannot see it is the 6-track from Sequential Circuits. And I decided that I wanted to go a lot with Sequential because they have a lot to offer. And, you know, I understand that these are at a price range that many people cannot afford, and in some cases do not want to afford, because they're up there above the 1,000 mark on all of these synthesizers, and some of them are even into the $2,000 mark if you get them new. That would be the Prophet 6, the OB6. That's definitely going to set you back at least $2,000 new and change. Then you have the Rev 2, and the Prophet 12 is no longer being made. So this is going to be a little bit perhaps harder to find. I don't know. They're not running out of them online, it doesn't seem. I had to get this one used because they don't sell them new, like I said. And I got this in pristine condition. I mean, this is absolute mint. I could actually call this a brand new synthesizer. I don't think anybody ever used it, so it's a great specimen right here. And then, the Prophet X is going to set you back at least, oh my goodness, what do those things run? $3,000 and change, brand new. So they are a lot of money. I think that, and I say this a lot, and I just want everybody to know, I don't get paid by Dave Smith or Sequential. I don't get free synthesizers from Sequential. These are my investments into my craft. This video channel is not the only thing I do, okay? So with that being said, I just want people, I read all the time, where does he get these synthesizers? He must be getting paid. He must be getting them for free. If you can find a synth company that's going to give me free gear, let me know. I'll be the first in line. I'm sure that there are synth companies that give away their product or at least lend them to people, but they're not calling me up, and I haven't called any of them. A little bit disclaimer there. We are at Synth Talk today, so, a little more loose here. Okay, so these synthesizers are filling up my studio because I believe that workflow is so important, and Dave Smith has designed these synthesizers to play nice with one another. And it is my opinion that none of them sound exactly the same. Now, of course, when you buy a synthesizer from a company, you're going to hear some familiar sound and character from those synthesizers. But that doesn't mean that they're all alike, all right? Some synth companies like to refurbish or recycle their synthesizer sounds and repackage them over and over and over again. I don't believe for one moment, 1 second, 1 millisecond that Sequential has done any of that. Now, love or like or just don't care for Sequential, you have to admit that Mr. Dave Smith himself is a legend in the synthesizer world. He is the father of MIDI. He is the father of the first virtual instrument. He is awesome, this man. And when he comes out with something, I think that we should pay it respect and give it the respect it deserves by checking into the product and at least trying to experience it before we judge it. And so with that being said, I can't say that I've had any kind of hate on Sequential because everybody I encounter loves Sequential. They wish they could own a Sequential if they can't own one at this time. They're great products. And so I decided after having several of the Sequential products in my studio and then selling them off, that I wanted them back. I missed them so much. And I got to tell you what, the Sequential Six-Trak, let's talk about that. If you can find one in good shape, you should get one, I think, because this is an all analog 6-voice VCO, guys, synthesizer. And you can pick these things up for around $600 to $900. Now, the price may have just gone up because I said that. I don't know. But yes, the Six-Trak is a VCO 6-voice synthesizer from yesteryear, and it has an incredible sound to it that I absolutely loved. I had one of those a while back too, and I foolishly sold it. And I was actually able to obtain another one that, even though the first one that I had was in great shape, this second one looks like it's brand spanking new. So whoever had it must have kept it tucked away somewhere in a box or something. I don't know. But this thing looks like it came right out of the store box. So it's really, really, really awesome that I was able to score that. Of course, you do have to wait around for these things in order to get them in good shape. Sometimes you just don't get lucky. In this case, I think I just got lucky and I had to wait a little while because there was some out there that was in some sorry shape that I passed on. So when it comes to vintage gear, make sure you know what you're getting. What else? The System 8 is gone. Let's talk about the Pro 3. System 8 is gone. I traded it in towards a Pro 3. Now, see, this was a surprise, okay? That's why I saved it for last. So I go into a music store, which I rarely ever do because I don't like to be sold to. And the music stores around here really don't have enough to offer me. So I'm always going in and leaving disappointed in these places. But a few days ago, I'm thinking, man, it's been a while since I've been at one of these stores. Maybe I should check it out. So I do. I go in there, and there were no analog synthesizers. Everything was digital. And I feel at this point with the Virus B, the System 1M, and at that time I had the System 8, the D-05, the Phantom, and of course, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Prophet 12 is a complete digital synthesizer. The Prophet X is also digital. I didn't need anything more digital. I was looking for something maybe in the hybrid area or perhaps full analog. So as I was leaving, the salesman approaches me and he asked me if there's anything he can help me find. And I said, well, I'm looking for analog. I don't see any here, so thank you. And he mentioned to me that they had a Pro 3, brand new, in the box, never opened, in the back. And if I was really seriously considering buying it, he would open up and let me take a look at it. So I started talking to him about trades. I talked about my System 8, and we worked out a fantastic trade, I believe, for myself, with the System 8 and some cash towards the Pro 3. Now, you got to understand that the System 8 came into my hands as a used item. Okay, so it wasn't brand new when I purchased it. And you also got to understand that the resale value of a System 8 isn't always that great. I think I picked mine up for around $1,000, and I have seen them go as low as $900 online. Plus, the store's got to make money. So I understand all of this, and I was going to walk out of there that day with the synthesizer. So gas is playing a huge part, because I'm going to tell you guys, if you haven't already figured it out, I tend to suffer from gas. I know it's surprising. I know it shocks you, but I don't know what gave it away, but yeah. So I kept thinking about it. I didn't leave right there with it. I didn't have the System 8 on me. It's not like I drive around with synthesizers in my car. So I thought about it. I got home. I called some friends, and I'm like, should I not? And I decided, you know what? I could have this in here today. So I did it. And I got to tell you, I did a review. If you haven't already seen that video, I did a review on the Pro 3, and I also did a sound demo on it. Here's the cool thing that I have to just really stress about the Pro 3. It's got 3 oscillators. 2 of them are pure analog, and then it's got 1 digital. And you don't have to have the digital one on. I know there are some analog purists out there that want nothing to do with digital when it comes to a synthesizer, but I'm just saying that if you don't want that sound, you can always turn it off. You don't have to worry about it. Now, with that being said, here's the thing. You've got the paraphonic mode where you can do up to 3 voices. But you got to remember something about the Pro 3. This is not a poly synthesizer. This is a mono synthesizer. The addition of the other 2 notes being playable, up to 3 total, is just something that Dave Smith added, okay, as flavor and as a feature that you can enjoy if you choose to do so. But he did not make this to be a poly synthesizer. What he did want to do, and I think he achieved it, is he made one of the greatest mono synthesizers ever to land on this planet. It is just out of this world. It is an amazing synthesizer. It has 3 awesome, incredible filters. One of them is from the Prophet 6, one of them is from the OB6, and then one of them is Dave Smith's take on the ladder filter. Now, you know that with Moogs, as you turn up the resonance, you're going to lose some of your bottom end. Everybody knows that. It's the way the ladder filter from Moog works. But Dave Smith has fixed that problem, so you can crank that up and you can get some really great bottom end. Speaking of which, this mono synth, this synthesizer in general, forget about mono, has some of the best bottom bass I've ever heard in a synthesizer. This thing can rock your speakers. It sounds so fantastic, so boomy, so incredible. And I'm telling you, I just cannot go on enough about this mono synth. And you know me, guys, I'm not much of a mono synth kind of a guy. I really don't care for a lot of mono synths, and I don't have a bunch of them in my studio. In fact, the only other mono synth that I do have is a Moog Slim Fatty, which I think is one of the best sounding Moogs ever to come out of the company. And I know we can argue that all day. I own a Moog 1, and Moog 1 owners would say that that was the best. Grandmothers sound fantastic. Matriarchs sound fantastic. They all sound fantastic, and I will give you that. But I really, really like the Moog Slim Fatty, and that's the only other real mono synth that I actually own. Now, you could probably take the System 1M and include it in that, but it's really 4-note polyphonic. And so it's not really fair to include that. So for me to say that the Pro 3 is that good, it must mean that I really, really, really enjoy it. And I just can't stop playing around on it. It's got a great keyboard. It's got a great interface. And it's got a big fat knob in the center of it for the cutoff. And you just want to grab all of these knobs, twisting and turning and tweaking them. It is a joy to play. And that's not even getting into the arpeggiator, the sequencer, and then all of the CV ins and outs that you can control all of your gear with. It is a monster. And if you can find one at a local music store to try out, please do so. I don't need to tell you guys that. You guys are going to try any synthesizer out that you can. I already know that. But so my decision in getting that was, a lot of it was gas. But I did get to play one some time ago at the same music store when they did have a demo model out on the floor. And I did a video on that here as well. It was a horrible video, because I didn't have any equipment with me. It was a spur of the moment thing. I just took out my phone and recorded it. It was music all over the place and noises. But the last video that I did on the demonstration of the Pro 3 is pristine. I mean, you can hear everything and you don't hear all that background noise because I'm not in the store. So anyway, that's about all I have today for Synth Talk. I want to thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, jamesdrone.com. Hit the subscribe button, give this video a like and a share. And until next time, keep calm and synth on.